live in a world where femininity, marriages, family, and courting is no longer valued. We live in hookup culture, situationships, and struggle love. The number one reason women struggle in long-term relationships, number one, femininity, and number two, staying in a relationship or entertaining people longer than the woman should.
My name is Danielle DeVita, and I'm a relationship and femininity coach. I've been married for 12 years, and I want to help you get on your feminine journey and vet for the right man today. For more of my content, you can visit MrsDanielleDeVita.com, or you can go to YouTube, Instagram, or my Facebook page. Get on your feminine journey today. Mrs. Danielle DeVita back with another video. I overheard someone say that marriage is overrated. A lot of women say, I like the strong silent type. Well, a lot of men like the feminine silent type. And for sure, it's going down. So a lot of times people are not getting the value. When to speak and when to be quiet is one of the most powerful. She's going to be aggressive thinking that. And as someone who's been married for 12 years, she's driven, not lazy. And this will make yourself and get on the right path. That understand that you might be doing a disservice to your daughter. If you don't help her understand vetting and proper decision making, now she's going to be a basket case later. If you don't help her understand emotional intelligence, she's going to hold on to a lot of emotional baggage. If you don't... Mrs. Danielle DeVita back with another video. I overheard someone say, welcome. Hello, we are live. So I am Danielle DeVita. I am a relationship and femininity coach. And if you like my content, if you've been watching for a little bit, whether it's the live stream or the recorded videos that I have, or if it's on Instagram, please follow me on Instagram. Subscribe and like the videos that you see on YouTube and or Facebook. I just put the live streams on Facebook, but most of my content is going to be on YouTube. But welcome. And if this is your first time, welcome. So I will be looking at two different cameras because with this platform, it doesn't allow you to have the full experience of Instagram. So I have Instagram camera right here. So hello, Instagram family, and YouTube and Facebook here. So I'm going to go into this content today. So if you don't know what the topic is, it's the truth behind successful single women. And this is not race related. Of course, I'm a Black person, but this is women in general, because this does not just affect one race. You can go to other content. You can even watch Indian Matchmaker and you'll see successful Indian women, and they have the same issue. So a lot of women are experiencing this issue of being successful and single, and they have a lot of reasons why, but I am going to tell you why. So before I do that, let me just tell you a little bit about who I am and why I have the content that I have. Because sometimes a lot of women feel like, oh my God, you're just pandering to men, or, you're so hard on women. And this is what I want to say. This is what my goal is. This is what my mission is. This is why I do what I do. My goal is to help both men and women vet. Of course, I definitely want to help women, but I do know I have men that listen to me as well. And I think men also need help with vetting. So my goal is to help you vet for the person that you deserve, not just some person that you draw up in thin air that you want, but you meet the qualifications of the person that you want to be with. Because just like a job, people have standards, and you're going to have to meet their qualifications for that person that you want. And sometimes we don't want to do that. We have standards, but we don't even want to meet the qualifications for the person that we say we want. And there's going to be a lot of content on social media, a lot of books, a lot of things that help, that co-sign that all men are dogs, or all men, are this and that. And you say, hey, you know what, men are intimidated by women, men are this, men are that. And not to say that there's not men. So yes, I'm very clear. I understand that there are men who are selfish. I understand that there are men who are dogs. I understand that there's men who do not do right. But the thing is, if your goal is to vet for the person you want, we need to spend less time talking about the person we do not want. So it's just like, I can say there's jobs that are dead end jobs. There's things that are not great about jobs. Some jobs have horrible benefits. Some jobs don't want to pay you anything. Some jobs have all these demands and don't want to do anything. I can go on and on and on about all the jobs that are not good. But why do that? If I know I'm qualified for this type of job and it has this type of pay, my goal is to only talk about that job and what that qualifications is, and get the degree, get the qualifications and the experience I need to have that job. And it's the same thing in a relationship. We don't need to spend time talking about the trifling man. I'm very clear that there are men like that. But my goal is to help you understand that there are some things that we can do better as women. There are some ways that we can be the best version of ourselves. And sometimes we contribute to the toxic relationships in which we were once in, or the situation, the dilemmas that we placed ourselves in. This is not just one-sided. So, and I'm pretty sure men can say the same thing. And there's going to be platforms that say, tell men they're all the prize and there's no trifling men and nothing you did is wrong and it's all women. Women are crazy. Women are goofy. Women are complex. There's going to be content like that. But I am neutral based. I am telling you there are good men. And I'm telling you that there are some of you women are doing trifling things. Now, come on, I'm a woman. I've been around women. There are some women that are doing trifling things, but there's some great women. So my goal is to help you understand, if you're a woman, we're only going to talk about the men that you want and what to do to get with that man. And if you're a man, what to do to get with this type of woman. So I've created this slogan that I talked about, leads. So if you are a woman, you say, Danielle, what type of man should I get with? What type of man should I marry? What type? So I don't say you should just be with any man. I say you should be with a man who leads. Everything he says and does is within love. He elevates you, not treat you like gum at the bottom of his shoe. He aspires for greatness. So he's not a bum. He wants to do great things and he doesn't need to be pushed to do these great things because this is what he wants to do. This can make him high earning. And high earning doesn't necessarily mean six figures. It means that he can be able to provide for himself and a great family, especially depending on where he lives, right? D, he's dedicated to the things and the people who he says he loves. S, he serves his community with his gifts, talents, expertise, knowledge, wisdom, which means this man is getting wiser. He's becoming more mature. He's not getting stupider by the day. He's not becoming more foolish, more immature. He's not doing that. This is a man who's purpose driven. That's pretty much what that means, serving his community. He has a purpose in life and he's living out that purpose using his talent, skill set, and gifts. This is a man who, so a lot of times men like to say this about women, but he cares about who he sleeps with. He doesn't just sleep with any woman. He's cognizant of the woman he sleeps with, the woman who he has children with, just like women should be as well, right? So this is a man who believes in family. He believes in marriage. This is a man I'm telling you to be with. So whenever I'm talking about a man, when I say man, this is what this man represents. And if you're a woman, you're going to do all those things, except L is going to be R for you. You respect. If you feel that you can't respect this man, then you don't need to be with him. So this is part of vetting. That whole thing is vetting. So when you're going on dates, when you're with people, these are the things you should be looking for. This is a form of vetting. So whenever women say, I have money and I'm getting with the guy, and the reason why I'm having a hard time getting with him, getting the right guy, because he's taking advantage of the fact that I have money, right? This is a guy who is doing, he's getting what he can out of me. And we have to understand that there are going to be men like that. There are going to be men that do certain things. They take advantage of you for your money, for whatever you have. But this is a part of vetting. This is a part of looking at red flags, because there are going to be women that do the same thing for men. So this is not one-sided. This is both sides, both genders face this issue of people using them as a wallet or using for whatever they want out of them. And this is a form of vetting, scouting, looking for red flags, and doing your due diligence. And sometimes you may get hurt in that process. Sometimes it may take a week or two. Sometimes it may take a month. But it shouldn't be taking longer than that when you're really actively getting to know each other. So that includes talking on the phone, not just texting, going on dates, doing things like that. Then we have women that say that there are men who are intimidated by them. And I'm not going to say that there's no men that are intimidated by women, because there are some men they are, but it's usually because of their own insecurities. They feel inadequate in some way. There's two forms of inadequacy. They have not done anything in life, so they don't like the fact that you're outshining them, or You have some men that it's not that they're not happy for you, but they feel like they can't do anything for you because you have everything. And some men like to feel needed, just like there's women that like to be needed. There, especially when men grow up in a society, this is a Western world, when men grow up in a society saying they need to be providers, they need to take care of a family. And then when they try to do that, they're faced with women who are successful and independent and don't need a man. And so they say. But there is something that's true about why many successful women are single. And I'm going to tell you the truth, because the sooner I let you know the truth. So if you're a woman listening, the sooner you know the truth, the sooner you can get healed and grow and do better. And I promise you, if you do the things that I say here, I promise you, you're going to find a man who leads. And if you're a man listening, you can better verbalize and communicate what the issue is in your relationship if you happen to be with a successful woman. So before we do that, I'm gonna, you know what? My kids are up. I'm gonna handle them really quick, and then we're gonna get back to this because this is highly, highly, highly important that I think we need to talk about, because women are becoming successful, and this is becoming an issue of why a lot of women fail to be in successful relationships, because I don't think that people should just be in any relationship just to say they're in one. But as a successful woman, there are things that I had to do. And I think that these things can work for you if you're a woman, and if you're a man, how to properly communicate this to women instead of being like some of the men on YouTube and stuff that they don't know how to eloquently explain what they're saying, but it sounds like they're being too hard on women. So give me a quick second and then we will reconvene with that. Let me put it here. Just a second. Okay, sorry about that. So here we go. This is the truth behind why many women, successful women, are single. And it's similar to what I said in my content whenever I start the video. I always have this video in the beginning that says, you know, there are 2 reasons why women are single. This falls under successful women too. 1, vetting issues. They're in a relationship longer than they need to be, and into femininity. Now, vetting is pretty much similar to what I just said. You're with the wrong guy. So if this guy is mooching off of you, and this has been going on for years, or because a lot of women are in these types of relationships for years, that means you've missed red flags. You were so busy looking at how cute he was. And because a lot of men that are educated, just like you, or successful like you sometimes like to call him educated lames, or there's no sexual chemistry. So a lot of women will say that, oh, there was just not chemistry. He's great on paper, but, you know. But the other thing is femininity. And this is going to be the biggest thing with successful women. See, whenever you're successful, you tend to put on, and it may not even be with other women. I'm not sure, because I've seen women who are successful and they have friends who may not be as successful as them, but they're great friends. But for some reason, even though you are in this modern world and you're okay with being successful, not saying that things wrong with that, because this is me as well. I'm a successful woman. But you sometimes there's this type of attitude that you have. And this attitude is almost like I need someone equal or better than me. And so to explain this, because sometimes you're not understanding why it's like this. So the last video I talked about, do men hit the wall? And in case you didn't get to hear that video, the whole point of that video is to say that if you understand that there is this biological clock, there is this wall for women and this wall for men, you know where you are in life and know how to prioritize what you need to do. So for women, we know about the biological clock, but there is a financial peak as well. So there's this financial wall that both men and, well, mostly women hit, because men can have this financial peak going all the way into age 55. And the financial peak, it starts to increase somewhere around the age of 26, 27. Then the gap starts to open up. So men and women are going to school, then getting a good job, and they're like this. But at age 29, it kind of moves and separate, and men start to go higher. So men can have a financial peak all the way to 55 years old at $100,000. But women have this financial peak typically around the age of 44. If you're in the legal field, it's 35. So in the mid 40s, there's just going to be this financial peak. And a lot of women want this. And the great news is some women are successful in reaching that peak prior to age 44. They may have reached that peak at 30. You may see women that's already making six figures, and that the amount is around $66,000, 75 if they're in the legal field. So if you are a woman and you've reached your financial peak before the age of 44, then you're doing great. But let's say you're 25 years old and you've reached your financial, well, you may not have reached the peak, but you're above the peak. So if 66 is the amount that you need to make, or your peak, and you're already making $90,000, $100,000 a year, and you're only, 20 something, you're going to find a man who's probably 30 and he may not have reached his peak yet. So what you do is, even though this guy has potential, so we're not talking about a bum here, we're talking about a guy who has potential, but he just hasn't reached his peak, because it does take about, unless you're just in a field that you can get a lot of money sooner, or you're this great entrepreneur. For a corporate job, most people have to be 10 years on a job before they reach some type of status on their job where they can make a certain amount of money. So if you're 30 or 28 and you've already reached your peak, and this guy is 30 and he hasn't reached his yet. Now, but not to say he's broke. He's making some money. He's just, let's say you make 100, but he makes 70. 70 is not bad, especially depending on where you live. But he hasn't reached it. He may not get his $100,000 until then 5 years later. So we have to understand that there are going to be some women that say, why can't I have it all? I did all this at work. I was able to do this. I was able to do that at work. But why can't I have this man that also does equal or better? If I can do 100,000, so can he. If I can do this, so can he. So she equates the fact that he's not making the amount of money and his looks as well, because she may look at his looks, his money, his style, that he's not this guy that she pictured in her head. If he's not this guy now, something's wrong with him. But you have to understand that you're an outlier. Financially, you're doing great. Financially, you're doing better, but you have to understand that he may not be there yet, but it doesn't mean that he has no aspirations. It does not mean that. It just means he hasn't reached it yet. You know how many people, so like, I'll go ahead and say my age. I'm 35. And I feel like financially, and just otherwise, family, children, the money that we have, the home that we have, the fact that I've been married for 12 years, a lot of people my age aren't going to be where I am. There's other people, same thing, that they are 33, 32, and they're probably doing great, make six figures already. How many people really are doing that at this age? Not that many people. So the fact that people are not there yet, it doesn't mean that they don't have aspirations. It just means that the particular job that they haven't reached that status. Because you have to also understand, I'm also in the legal field, and just so you know, depending on some jobs, you may not get there yet. So even though, I went to school, when I got my undergrad, it was hard trying to get a job in my field that paid what I want. But of course, if you're going to medical school, if you're going to law school, if you're doing things like that, it's almost guaranteed that you'll have a job, right? After you graduate, rather than other jobs. Imagine how many people you went to school with that's not doing what they went to school for. So you have to understand that everyone's not going to be where you are. And this is the biggest thing for successful women. They want to find people on their level. I hate to say this. I hate to use this example. But I'm going to use it because a lot of you or social media may understand this. And although I do not agree with a lot of his methods, there was a video, the Average at Best video. Y'all know about it, the Kevin Samuels video. So may he rest in peace. So in this video, the woman had $100,000. She made over $100,000 a year. She kept saying she wanted to find a man that makes this amount of money, and if she had to settle, she'll be with someone who makes less. But what you have to understand, just because a man's not making what you make doesn't mean he's not a good man, doesn't mean that he can't provide. It just means he's just not providing currently the lifestyle that you want, but it doesn't mean he can't. Because a lot of women want this microwave man that he's perfect, just like this already right now. And she's not waiting for him to get great because she's already so great. She's worked her way up with her own merits, on her own merits, and she thinks someone needs to be where she is right now at this time, this or doing better. And if he's not, it's because he didn't try his best. Listen to a lot of the things women say. They will say something along this line: if I can do it, so can he. If I can do all of this, so can he. But everyone's not in the same space financially. And this really does boil down to financially, because if everybody in that, and a lot of women want guys where she have chemistry with, usually sexual chemistry, someone she's attracted to. Because you could put a guy who has a lot of money, who's got his stuff going, and put him in front of her. She goes, I'm not really fond of how he looks. So he really does have to check all the boxes. And I'm saying all of this just to help you understand that it is important that we understand that everyone's not going to be where we are in life. And a lot of times we hear about these successful single women. They were successful early in life, in their 20s, maybe in their early 30s. Again, if a woman maybe, and a lot of times women can't balance. I know women can, because a lot of women can multitask. But when I say they can't, it means they really choose not to, because it's possible to still be married or to still, do these things and have a family. But they want to do like what men do, be the provider. So that's one thing. But the other part is the femininity aspect of it. So you hear women say they want to be independent. Nothing wrong with being independent. But when you're in a relationship, that level of independence changes. And what I mean by that is the same way if I have children, everything can't be about me. It's not I have a child to think about. Well, this is the same way in any type of relationship. When you're in a relationship with a man, it can't just be, well, I'm used to doing this by myself. I can do this. I don't need you. Well, a relationship has a level of codependency. And a lot of women want to keep that same independency. It's okay to be your own individual self. There's nothing wrong with being you, being an individual. But sometimes women do want to have this independence, but still be in a relationship. They don't want to, work this out together, do things together. Or they like to do things the way they want it. This is how it was before we were together, so this is what I want now. So there's a lot of times women don't properly compromise. The other part of the femininity, so we talked about the independence, because that is a form of the femininity, allowing a man, allowing to be, receive, right? So if you try to be independent, it's no, I can do it by myself. I don't need you kind of attitude. And some women actually verbalize that. So that is a form of, independence where it's affecting your relationship. The other one is the attitude. Some women have attitude. Let's face it. Someone has told you that you have an attitude problem, or you're too bossy, or, you got the rolling the neck, snapping the fingers, putting your hand in people's face, and especially a man, disrespecting a man, not being cooperative, being disagreeable. You know, you've heard this from a man that you were with at some point, but you took it as, no, he is intimidated by me. No, he doesn't like your attitude. You have to understand that you can still be boss babe. You can still go to work and do great, but you can still be feminine. There's nothing wrong with being feminine. You have to understand that. I guess I'm not understanding why people think femininity equals weak, because the fact that you're feminine doesn't mean you're this damsel in distress. It doesn't mean that you don't know how to do things. It doesn't mean that. What it means is you can still go to work and do what you need to do and come home and let your man know that you love him and there's a need for him to be in your life. Not necessarily that you need him to survive. We get that. We get that. Men don't need us to survive, and we don't need men to survive. But you need him in your life. And that's what you want to make sure you let him know. Sometimes women don't let men know, that the man that they're with know that you're needed. I need you in my life. So we have to make sure we let the men in our lives know this. There's nothing wrong with being successful. There's nothing wrong with getting ahead of life. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to understand that it's okay to be feminine too. It's okay to put yourself out there, to want to be in a relationship. Sometimes women are, focus driven, that they don't get themselves, they're not available. They're not approachable. I have a whole video about approachability, and a lot of women do not like that because they think that someone is telling them they got to sit and have a conversation with people. They got to smile for people they don't like. No, it means that you are making yourself available and out there. If you have this resting bee face all the time, this face like this, that you're tired and irritated, what man is going to approach you? This is if you're looking for a man. If you're not, then none of this is for you. But if you're saying, I'm successful and I'm single, I don't want to be single, so what can we do? Well, you can work on your femininity. There's nothing wrong with being a boss lady at work and still being feminine. I even think you can be feminine at work and still be in some type of executive position. Not to say that you can't tell people what needs to be done, do your projects or whatever particular job status you have, but you can still be feminine. I think people misunderstand what femininity is. You're confident in who you are. Now, the goal is to make sure you get a man who's also confident, because if you do not get a man who's confident, then yes, you will run into men who are insecure, men who are intimidated by you. But these are men, it has nothing to do with you. It's their own insecurities and their own inadequacies. But please do not put all of this on a man. A lot of times women use the reason that they're single is because all the men are intimidated by them, and that men don't like aggressive women. They don't. Women don't either. You want to be assertive, not aggressive, not arrogant. So to help you understand the difference, and people say, well, men are aggressive. Why can't women be? Assertive is what you want to be. Assertive means you're confident, you're sure of yourself. Aggressive means there's some insecurities in there, and you're using that and trying to push yourself, and you use that negative energy and you try to mask it as confident. So when it comes across, it doesn't come across assertive, it comes across aggressive. The same way with a man, I would say. Men should not be aggressive, they should be assertive. Aggressiveness, when you got this man that they call them macho, but they're overcompensating. So it comes across aggressive. They don't know how to control their anger, so they're. But if they are assertive and assure themselves, how they handle situations, their reactions, their actions, their behavior is going to be different. You can tell the difference between a confident man and woman versus an insecure man and woman who are trying to mask this confidence. So you have to understand there's nothing wrong with being independent. But when you're in a relationship, there's codependency there. All right. There's nothing wrong with knowing your worth. Nothing wrong with, wanting to be boss babe at work, but you can still be feminine. The same thing with the man. There's nothing wrong with being gentle in his masculinity. See, there's a balance. Just like men have to balance being gentle in their masculinity at some point, because you can't just be full on masculine with women all the time. Come on. We as women have emotions. We cannot deal with a man who's full on hard masculine all the time with no gentleness there at some point. And then same thing with women. You see, understand, men do not want to be with a woman who's masculine. They want to be with the one who's the opposite of them. They want to be with a feminine woman. So you can still be feminine and still doing your thing. So all I'm saying is, let's not pretend like all men that have approached us are intimidated by us, that all men don't want us because they are insecure and they're inadequate and they can't deal with a real woman. A lot of it is our attitude. A lot of it is how we behave, how we say things, the attitude that we put on, like we don't need them. Or sometimes women verbalize that to the man. I don't need you. I can do this. I did this before you. I could do this after you. I could be bad all by myself. Come on. So we and a lot of times it's out of fear. A lot of women have grown up saying, you don't need a man. I want you to go to school. I want you to get your degree. Let the man know that you don't need him. But in many ways, we do need men. We do. We were meant to be to form relationships with people in general, just to form relationships, and especially someone of the opposite gender, because there's something there. That femininity and masculinity is like a battery, the negative and the positive charge. And, you've heard the term opposites attract. That's a part of it. And not just opposite genders, but personalities. So we have to understand that if you are successful and you're wondering why you're continually being single, and this is not something that you're purposely doing. So not that I'm purposely being single so I can get through med school. I'm purposely being single for whatever the reason. But here you're saying I'm single and I don't know why. Why am I single, Danielle? First, is it your femininity? Is it your attitude? Are you coming off with that look, that I don't need a man? I'm so sick of men. Men always want me for my money. I don't like to tell men what I do. Because I know they're gonna. You have to understand, when let's say you've had these issues before, but when someone asks you, if someone were to go ask someone if she's successful and she's single, and you say, what is the reason why, and she's your friend, because if not, the woman's probably gonna curse you out, you saying this. But if you have this discussion with a woman, why do you think successful women are single? If all the negative stuff comes up, and a lot of times it's because there's healing that needs to be done. If people talk about, if you ask anyone a story and they bring up this old story, something that happened in middle school and high school, and it comes with pain, anger, then it lets you know they haven't let go of those things. So when you ask a woman this question, and they sound like they're bitter and angry, a lot of times it's because they have been ran over by the wrong guy. They have been dogged out, or they have seen this in other people's relationship. And this has somehow come off into their relationships, this feeling, this unhealthy feeling. And it's because they haven't got healing from it, or they haven't dealt with it and talked it out with someone. It's important that you understand that if you properly vet, you won't have to go through all of these issues. But it's important to make sure you're feminine. So the homework would be, if you're a woman and you're wondering why you have these issues, try being feminine. Be who you are. Have your own personality, but be feminine. And feminine energy is you being nurturing, you being loving, you being kind, generous, being woman-like, okay, being ladylike. So try to be more ladylike, confident that you're a woman, not competing with a man, not competing and saying all the great things that you've done just to see if you can compare with this guy. I've been to this many countries. I've done this. I made this much money. And you're trying to compare with the guy you're with. Just be a woman. Be happy with who you are. Be confident in who you are. Not trying to compete. Being your soft, gentle self, the same way you would if a child was around. Sometimes women seem to be nicer and happier when it's a baby. So do the same thing with the man and see how that turns out. Because a lot of times it's your energy, the masculine energy that you're exuding before you even open your mouth. Not the fact that you have a degree, but the fact, the attitude surrounding it. It's kind of like, the best example I can give is women who, and at least I think in some cases, sometimes we, well, my hair is blown out, but I have natural hair. And sometimes women who wear their hair natural, curly, locks, whatever it is, there's this energy that naturalistas have. And it's almost like I am enlightened and I see the world in a different way, whether it's through the, motherland or whatever it is, you're more enlightened, or at least it has this air that you're more enlightened. Well, this is the same way as it is with people who are rich. This attitude, this bourgeois attitude, prior to meeting this person, there's the same thing with people who have a degree. It's like this, I'm better, or this is my status, this is my accolades, and where are you? So, and I'm not saying all women are like that, but sometimes it comes across that your degree precedes you. Your success precedes you. So people don't get to know who you are, but they know all about what you do, where you've been, all the countries and places you've been. It's almost like you're just running your resume off to compete with others, both men and women. And it comes across off-putting. You may be bossy. You may be trying to tell your man what to do, how he should do things. I'm going to help him with his business. I have the business mindset. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm better with money and and you could be, but sometimes it's the attitude. And this is the truth. What you thought you were going to hear today was someone saying, yeah, all men are intimidated, but it's not true. I wish there's someone that would tell women the truth, because then you can do better. If you're 25 and you're hearing this and you say, I'm going to make a change, then wow. Wow, imagine what that could do for you versus I want someone to co-sign saying that, yes, all men are dogs. All men are intimidated by me. And I co-sign with just women. How are we getting better? We talk about there's not a lot of content that hold men responsible for their, well, you can't really hold someone responsible, but telling men how they should be responsible for their own actions, how they should view things in a different perspective, how men should do this, and that. But we get mad when there's content doing the same thing for women. These are the things we can do better as a woman. These are the things that we could do better to be better wives, better girlfriends. So I'm not saying not to be successful. I'm saying change your approach, how you behave, how you interact with the opposite gender. Try not saying your degree. Go on a date. And try not saying that your degree, what you do, where you've been, and just literally let the man do more of the talking. Because women, we do more talking. And this is also a good form of vetting. The more the other person, you allow the other person to talk, you get to know more about the way they think. This is a great form of vetting. This is why I'm not a big proponent on actual dinner dates, because you're so busy looking at the ambiance. This is a 5-star restaurant, 4-star, however, maybe you guys aren't doing that. But you're so busy looking at how beautiful the restaurant is that you do not realize the person that's standing before you. Sorry about my kids. I had to get them later. But you're not listening to the person that's right before you. But same thing with doing fun activities and things. When you're doing too much activity, you're interacting with the activity, not the person. So the whole point of vetting is get to know the person. Try it. Try having a mystery about yourself. Try not letting someone know all the countries you've been to, all the jobs you've had, your occupation, your business. Try not doing that on a date. Try going on a date. Try a lunch date, going for coffee, hot chocolate if you don't drink coffee, going for tea, whatever it is. Try doing something where you're talking and letting the guy do more of the talking. you're doing two things. One, you're vetting, and two, you're showing that you're not competing, not showing him, but you're showing yourself that because if it's hard for you to do that, then you know competition was an issue for you. If it's hard for you to not talk about yourself and your accolades, competition was an issue for you. If you have a hard time going on a date, listening to the other person talk, that's also an issue. It shows that you weren't properly vetting and looking at red flags because it was all about you. And if you have a hard time being feminine and allowing a guy to pull your chair out, or saying thank you when he does it, or just being womanly and dainty, then femininity might be in your issue. Again, still stay within your personality. The goal is to be the best version of yourself. But part of feminine energy is having manners, having this energy of happiness, not like, not that attitude. But when you do that, imagine the type of relationships that could transform from that. Friendships in relationships. So try it, because I'm telling you, as a woman who I feel like I am successful, and I notice that I get more reception than if I'm trying to push out my accolades, push out what I'm doing. And typically I try not to let people know what I'm doing, because yes, you are going to have people that are going to use you for whatever, right? But well, that's not why I do it. I do it for other reasons. But you're going to have people like that. But try not to then. Try not to say what you do for a living. Try to, ask more questions. Not to say don't answer any questions about yourself, but try stop talking about yourself for once. Because a lot of times I think women like to let other people hear all their accolades, because they want to get a cookie for being an independent woman. And I know that sounds bad, but men are independent all the time, because men providing for themselves is what society expects. But when we do it as women, we do want accolades, which I understand, because we fought for these things. We fought for this, and then that we're doing well, that's great. But understand that we don't want to compete with our men. We want to be feminine. We do want to properly vet, and we don't want to say a man is not adequate enough to be with because he's not financially where you are in life. We don't want to do that. All right. So thank you, Tip, for taking the time to listen to me. I did not have the comments out. I didn't put I may do that because I didn't get a chance to do that. Let me see. What I'll do is, here's a number at the bottom of the screen. So if you do want to call in, you can, 813-816-1813. If you have your input, maybe you think I'm wrong. Maybe you think, a lot of men are intimidated. Maybe you think that is not the issue, that you like to compete with men, or that there's an attitude issue. I put the StreamYard link so you can do that as well. So there's a StreamYard link if you want to be on camera. Be camera ready. If you are on Instagram, you can request to join, so you can come on and tell me your piece. So I didn't get to ask if anyone wanted to call in or get on StreamYard and say your piece. But this is, I believe, the truth around why many successful women are single. I'm a woman. I listen to women all the time talking about why they are single and some of these things that they say. But looking at their personality, there is a truth behind it, but no one won't tell them the truth. And I think that that's not right, to not tell someone the truth. If you know it's that person's attitude, why let them believe that people are just intimidated by them? No, they just don't like that you're bossy. They don't like that. They don't like that you're rude, you're disrespectful, you think you're better than everyone else. You're so busy competing to show that you can be independent just as much as him, or that you can make money too, and that how he needs to make just as much money as you to even qualify for you. But you make six figures, you make $200,000, and he needs to do it now and make that kind of money, but y'all both 32. So, and not to say that there's not men doing that, because I know men who are doing that, but you have to understand that the peak for this age is usually 44 for women. So if you are on the early end, that's great. And the peak for men is at 55. In the legal field, 75 is the peak for women. and 168 is the peak for men at 56 years old. So you have to understand that people are early. They're reaching these salaries early, but it doesn't mean that the other person who hasn't reached it early is not adequate enough, that they can't provide, because 80 grand could provide for a family, but you want him to make 100. And I don't think the fact that someone's making less than you is a man who's not worth fitting for. A lot of men do have a problem with that, and they're not going to lower their lifestyle to be with a man who makes less. But some of these things are affecting you. Your husband could be right there, but you're so busy looking at the wrong things. You're single because a lot of times you have spent your time vetting and being with the wrong man. You spent your time in your 20s being with the good-looking guy, the guy you had sexual chemistry with, that guy, but he was not doing anything but mooching off you. So now when the guy who has all of this stuff, he's got himself together, you don't want him because no sexual chemistry. Oh, but then when you turn 35, that guy is great. That guy who you had no sexual chemistry, he's husband cute. You're cool with this guy. Or your standards are still high. He needs to be, there needs to be sexual chemistry. He needs to be making more money than you. He needs to already be where it is. You don't have time to be building up with a man because you built yourself up just like that. So you don't have time to be building up for a man. This is an attitude that we hear from women. But a lot of times we're going to co-sign and say, yeah, it's the man. He's intimidated. No. All right. So what I'm going to do is, this is a great topic. We could definitely talk about this more. But if you're listening on the playback, please go ahead and put in your comments and tell me what you think. Maybe you think I'm wrong. Now, I'm telling you, I have spoken to many women. This is not just women I've coached. This is women I know, women I've seen, women I've worked with, women I've interacted with. I'm telling you, I hear it. I see it. So you if you've been around enough women, and you know that, okay, yeah, you know what? She had issues vetting. Oh, you know what? Yeah, she's not feminine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's bossy. Oh, yeah, she's always trying to compete with the man. Yes, you're going to see it. Your eyes are going to be open more to it now. It ain't that everybody's intimidated by you. All right. So I am going to go out because these kids need to be going to bed. But anyway, please place your responses in the comment, like, and subscribe to this video. So thanks for tuning in. I am Mrs. Danielle DeVita, giving you that raw and real content. All right. Take care. Mrs. Danielle DeVita back with another video. I overheard someone say that marriage is overrated. A lot of women say, I like the strong, silent type. Well, a lot of men like the feminine, silent type. And for sure, it's going down. So a lot of times people are not getting the value. When to speak and when to be quiet is one of the most powerful. She's going to be aggressive, thinking that. And as someone who's been married for 12 years, she's driven, not lazy. And this will make yourself and get on the right path. That understand that you might be doing a disservice to your daughter. If you don't help her understand vetting and proper decision making, now she's going to be a basket case later. If you don't help her understand emotional intelligence, she's going to hold on to a lot of emotional baggage. If you don't. We live in a world where femininity, marriages, family, and courting is no longer valued. We live in hookup culture, situationships, and struggle love. The number one reason women struggle in long-term relationships, number one, femininity, and number two, staying in a relationship or entertaining people longer than the woman should. My name is Danielle DeVita, and I'm a relationship and femininity coach. I've been married for 12 years, and I want to help you get on your feminine journey and vet for the right man today. For more of my content, you can visit MrsDanielleDeVita.com, or you can go to YouTube, Instagram, or my Facebook page. Get on your feminine journey today.